Hello everybody, hope you're all well. I'm Richard Simons and this is my new Tesla Model Y. I've been giving it a pretty tough time of things so I can find out exactly what it's good at, what it's not good at, what I like, what I don't like, and what is its real world range and efficiency. Stick with me in this video, I'll tell you all about it. I'm not really that careless, I didn't drive into a bin deliberately damaging the car. This was already damaged at 1 week old and 330 odd miles. My neighbour drove into the front of my car pretty hard. As you can see here from the footage recorded on the integrated Sentry Mode dash camera, he gets in his car and drives into front of this, causing some damage here. Actually, it looks like it's quite superficial. We've taken an initial look, it looks like it's just the front bumper. So we'll get all this repaired up. It caused a little bit of damage to the back bumper as well, was it pushed this into the car behind me that was parked. So anyway, that's going to be a separate video following later on. Once we get all this repaired up, we'll tell you exactly what that was like in terms of repair costs and damage caused and all that kind of stuff. So stay subscribed, more on that one later on. Since we filmed that, I did actually have washed the car, but then I've used it again. It's been used pretty intensively and I've covered well over 1,000 miles now in just over 2 weeks in this car. So I've certainly got to learn all the things I like and don't like about it. And I'm going to start off with the things I don't like about it. Let's have a bit of a whinge first. Let's get it out of the way and cover a few points there. Let's start off with one of the most talked about topics, which is ride comfort. So you'll see I'm going to moan about the ride comfort a little bit, and you're going to straight away say, yeah, but you've got the 20-inch wheels and 19-inch wheels, it's much better. I have driven both quite a lot. I've driven the cars with 19-inch wheels quite extensively, and basically it's about the same. It is a firm ride. Now, on the motorway, I find it actually okay, no problem at all at higher speeds. But at lower speeds around town, it just crashes over some of the bumps. It kind of depends what you've been used to, but essentially, you know, I'll get stick for this criticism, but there are other cars I've driven, EV, non-EV, of this kind of size, which are just a bit more comfortable when you have the potholes. It doesn't jiggle you around in the cabin. And I think, okay, the performance version of this, that could be firm. You need the body control. It is a fast car, so you do need to have body control. I'm not expecting a floaty Mercedes S-Class, but it does just crash around town a little bit, which just gets a little bit annoying. Let me try and give you an example and a demonstration of what it's like. Let me just take this little twig and I'm going to put it about here, and let me drive over that and show you exactly what it's like. Okay, let's drive over this twig. Let me take the bing bongs away. Right, it's just in front of the wheel, so I should be able to go straight over it. I don't need auto steer, just drive. There we go. See, it's fine. That's what it's like. Yeah, barely knew it was there. Okay, so we're just messing around a bit, trying to make it funny because we were told to make our videos a bit more funny, but I don't want it to put people off. It just has that little bit around town where it just kind of does crash into the potholes and such, like a bit more than some of the other cars. And I think, as I say, just for the non-performance one, just a little bit softer would be fantastic to have. However, the payback for that slightly firmer suspension is that it is remarkably sporting to drive. So for a fairly large family practical car, it does have lightning sharp steering. It's much like the Model 3. It's very sharp, very agile. You really only get a little bit of body lean because of its extra height if you're pushing hard around corners, but it can still be fun. It's still a fun car. It's still pretty quick, and you can also get the acceleration upgrade for £1,500. I'm not really tempted to do that myself, but maybe I will at some point down the line. It's a quick car, overtakes pretty much anything you want. Chap with a Golf R32 the other day was trying to keep up and he was way behind. So yeah, surprisingly nimble for a family car. At least that's, you know, the direct reward for that slightly firmer suspension. I went for these wheels because I've driven both. I know that they're firm anyway, so I like the look of these wheels. And the 20-inch wheels come with Michelin tyres. The 19-inch wheels come with Hankooks. I've got a slight preference towards the Michelin, so that's why I went for these. These Michelins give a rated maximum pressure of 50 psi. When I picked up the car new, all the tyres were at 50 psi, cold. So when you drive it, they go hotter than that. The pressure they should be at is 42. That's what it says in the car. That's what the pressure should be. And I think what Tesla did there is put all the tyre pressures to maximum during shipping, so that when the cars are sat on the boat for a long time, they don't get flat spots on the tyres. Fine, but before you hand the car over to its new owner, put the tyres at the correct pressures, because one could argue that could be dangerous otherwise. So again, just within Tesla, please take this as some constructive criticism. Check the cars before they get handed over and put the tyres at the right pressures for the new keeper. Don't expect a new buyer to instantly drive out and then have to reset all their tyre pressures, because that's what I had to do. and others. Now, it might look like I don't care about my car too much, but I do. I like to look after it. This complaint here is something that could really easily be fixed by Tesla, and that is that the build quality, the fit and finish, everything, paint, all good on this car, no problem at all. However, from new, and I've seen this before, not just in this car, the car wasn't really cleaned that well when I collected it, which is a bit of a disappointment, and it was just full of quite a lot of swirl marks in the paint. Now, they're delivering a lot of cars, they quickly take some plastic covers off and they drag a cloth over it to wipe it before handover. In that wiping, they're just dragging a fairly dirty cloth around, I think, because every car I saw on a collection day with this one had swirls in it, some way worse than this. So I want this to be constructive criticism to Tesla. I'm sure somebody in Tesla will hear this one day, and I've raised it plenty of times before, but the pre-delivery wash and handover, you know, if you're going to wash it, do it properly, do it nicely, and don't damage the paint. You're letting yourself down right at the last minute here. So that's a bit frustrating, and at some point, probably when we fix this up, I'll give this car full detail and possibly some PPF and ceramic coat. Okay, I'm going to sort of moan about the headlights a little bit. They're actually quite good. They're bright and the beam pattern's wide, and they're sort of okay, but at this price point, £60,000 this one, starting from £55,000 in the UK, the competition has matrix and dynamic headlights, shadowing the car in front, cornering headlights. The reality is the headlights on my wife's VW ID3 are actually much better than these. Also, the dip beam, high beam and dip beam is too slow to respond. You can't really use it, you have to do it manually. And so they should just be a bit better really at this price point. Now, they are matrix in there, and they can project the word Tesla on a wall when you do the light display. So they've got the capability of doing some functionality like that, but they just don't do it. And unfortunately, the headlights of a lot of competition cars are just way better. And one other point, with the beam direction here, they've got a very flat beam, and then it goes up very sharp and high on the left-hand side. So as I'm driving along a road here, if anybody's on a lane onto the left of me, this is actually dazzling them quite a lot, and it's quite bright. Or if you go around a left-hand corner, you're dazzling the car in front. And it shouldn't be that way. And if I go to France, or if a vehicle from France or Germany where they drive a left-hand drive car, come over here, the beams don't change. They could easily just automatically, with a geofence, change automatically, or at least have a setting in the car, but they don't. So a really simple thing that should be easily resolved, but at the moment you probably need to really put some sticker or something on the headlight, which is a bit out of date, isn't it, Tesla? So let's see some more functionality with these headlights. Hopefully that's going to come with just a software update. I love the fact that your phone is the key and it just automatically unlocks the car when you walk up to your phone in your pocket. But why are there no puddle lights under here and no lights for the handle? Because when it is dark, you can find yourself kind of prodding around for the handle to find it. Just like that. I'm one of these people that like my climate control set to auto, 19.5, 20 degrees. This is one of the, it doesn't seem to happen to me in other Teslas, but in this one I find that I'm having to adjust the temperature quite a lot in this car. So it seems to be quite different when you're moving along at speed compared to when you're going slower. And I'm finding myself having to often adjust this. Very much a first world problem, and that's how picky I'm being. But I think this is just probably, again, maybe a software update just for how it's monitoring the interior temperature and keeping it more steady would be kind of nice. So you can see how picky that is. Let's get on to all the good stuff. So one of the biggest plus points for me, and my use, everyone's going to be different, is just size. So for me, it's just a right size. It's not too big and it's not too small. So it's a hatchback, so it's practical, it's got good storage, it's comfortable. Now, I don't like it being termed in the category of like crossover and SUV type car, because I don't think it is. I don't think it's even trying to be. I think what it is ergonomic. So the problem with something like the Model 3 and the Model S, for example, they're keeping to the height of a normal car. We've come to know them, but underneath the car is this battery pack about this big. So I think what we've got here is a battery pack that's about that big, some sensible clearance underneath the car so you don't ground out on speed bumps and stuff. It's not trying to be an off-roader. And then you draw a comfortable seating position, so your knees aren't up too high, which tends to be the problem with the 3 and the S a little bit if you've got long legs. Give yourself some headroom and you've got a car this big. So I think it's ergonomic. I think it is form follows function. It's then low at the front. It's not trying to have a pretend grille like an Audi e-tron. And it's ergonomic, form follows functions, aerodynamic. And then we've got this kind of coupe-like shape here. So I think it looks pretty sharp. I quite like it, and for me it's just a nice ergonomic size to give good passenger space inside for 4 adults, even 5 people, and then a good space, and even a really useful front space as well. So if you see what I mean here, just with the seat a little bit high off the floor, basically this is the same as a Model 3, but then you've got this block here which just lifts it off the floor a little bit so my knees aren't too high up. like a Model 3, really nice low dashboard. The visibility out here is lovely. I love a minimal interior, and I love the white interior. I've had a lot of white interior cars now. We've had used Model S's and X's with quite high mileage, real family use, and it always stands up really well. So don't be afraid of the white interior. It lasts really well and is very durable. In fact, I just saw a video from Carl in the States, a friend, and he's got over 100,000 miles on his Model 3, the white interior, and his seats look brilliant actually. So it's durable, it's good. I love the interior in here, and the space here is brilliant. So that size and shape translates to, again, good ergonomics for the back passengers. Good distance between the seat base and the floor, so my knees aren't too high up. Loads of knee room, loads of leg room. Look at that, I can really move my feet right under the seat in front. In fact, our small dog can even walk under the seats to get between front and back. I've got plenty of headroom. The big glass roof here lets loads of light in, combined with the white interior, it's really nice and bright and fresh. And my daughter gave me some valuable feedback. Because the rear seats recline a little bit, she found it more comfortable to have a little sleep in the back on a longer journey. So the boot's practical, nice flat load area, not too high up. Big storage under here where we've got things like wellies, and then we've got storage under that section as well. Big floor, and I love how they've put the folding seats like that, and then the centre section of seats also folds down, so you can have 4 adults and something long in the car. So we've just done another video testing things like mountain bikes, dogs and boxes in the back of the Y, and comparing that to some other EVs, so the big box challenge, and then also comparing it directly with the S and the X and the Model 3 as well. So check out our other videos for more about just how practical the back of the Model Y is compared to other cars. I actually like how deep these side pockets are as well. So my laptop bag can fit down one side, and then down the other side I can fit my wardrobe, because I normally carry quite a lot of different coats and clothes on me. It's about everything I own. So there you go, 3 coats and a t-shirt just in one side. So I've still got a big floor area and still all the storage under there. So as you can see, it works pretty well.
And also Tesla now selling those boxes for those sides as well.
Yeah, you can get storage bins that go in the side if you don't like those deep pockets, but for me that works brilliantly. Good to see the cars coming in the UK. I've also got double glazed into the rear windows as well as the front windows. It's a nice quiet car, it's good. The main benefit of that is probably thermal insulation, so there's less heat loss through the glass, helping make the car more efficient. And the front space is also a good size. It's quite deep, it's deeper than the Model 3, so you can get plenty of stuff in here. I usually just keep a couple of charging cables. But again, being plastic lined, again, if you had like muddy wellies and shoes, that'd be a great space to store those. So this long range comes as standard with heated seats in the front and the rear. I've also got a heated steering wheel, which is excellent. And the Model Y also has the Bioweapon defense mode, which you don't get in the Model 3. What you do find with the Bioweapon defense mode is to build the pressure in the cabin stronger than outside, it does blow the fans quite hard. So you can probably hear now the fans have increased. And so actually to sit in a traffic jam in London, but with the fans like that, well, it's probably worth it because it filters out a lot of the bad air. However, what I have found is that even without the Bioweapon on, just its normal climate control, it does filter out smells and smoke from other vehicles brilliantly well. I was behind a truck the other day and a ton of smoke came out of it, and I didn't have time to kind of suddenly reach for the recirculation, but nothing came into the car, so it probably has an auto recirculate, or it probably just filters it really well in the first place, so that's good. As for the rest of the system here, well, we've covered this plenty. The Tesla software system I think is the best. The mapping's brilliant. This has got the Ryzen chip in it, so everything on here is super sharp and quick. Everything works brilliantly. I won't go into the details of it, but the software, the navigation, the ease of finding charging and the automatic routing for chargers, everything works brilliantly. The app's brilliant. Preheating the car, warming the seats up, warming the steering wheel and defrosting it before you get in the car, all brilliant, all works very well. So in terms of its software, top marks all round for Tesla. And of course that brilliant Sentry mode and dash cam system built into it, which as you saw clearly recorded my neighbour reversing into my car, so that was worth it. Okay, so let's talk about efficiency and real world range. Forget numbers that a manufacturer gives you about range of electric car. In the real world it can be very, very different. So my use of this car is I do the school runs in the morning normally. I'm driving through town, I'm sitting in heavy traffic. Sometimes a 6-mile school run can take me nearly an hour. And then I've got some country roads to get to work. I go up and down the motorways, and we've also done a family trip to Devon. So Lots of starts, lots of shorter journeys as well as longer journeys. We've had some cold weather, we've had some slightly warmer days like today. It's 12 degrees Celsius. So a real mixture of real world. And since this car was new, I've covered over 1,100 miles and I've averaged 292 watt hours per mile. So that's lots of cold starts as well and everything. So I think that's very good. That translates to 3.4, just over 3.4 miles per kilowatt hour as very much an average, not trying, and a real mixture of conditions and usage. So I think that's very, very good efficiency. When I've done a couple of trips, and we did a video where I went to Cornwall and back in the day, I'm finding that the real world range of the Model Y long range, remember with these wheels, which will be probably slightly less efficient than the smaller 19-inch wheels as long as you've got the covers on, the real world range 240 to 280 odd miles. I think I've had a trip where it was warmer day, it was about 13 degrees Celsius. I'm just traveling steadily on the motorway. I was getting 250 watt hours per mile, so about 4 miles per kilowatt hour. I think there's about 75 kilowatt hours usable at this battery. Although we don't know exactly which battery it is because we've always had a different long-range battery in the Model 3 to the rest of Europe. So we don't think it's the 82, we think it's an LG 79, but I'd love some more information below. But I think there's about 74, 75 kilowatt hours usable. So overall, I'm going to put the real world range of this at the moment with colder weather about 240, 250, 260 miles. But I think in the summer up near 300 miles wouldn't be too hard to achieve. And if you had to do over 300 miles, I'm quite confident it would be fairly easily achievable. Just been a bit cautious. You can see this bit here flares out. It's going to be really prone to stone chips and gravel and everything coming up. And in fact, what is good, they've put PPF on this as standard in the UK, which I think is great. And there are already some little marks, some stones in this. So without this would be really heavily chipped. I thought that was a chip there, but that's just dirt. It's been cleaned a couple of times already, then it's dirty in a second. Anyway, let's carry on. And I love how much storage there is in there. The door bins are big. The center console is excellent. Why are all cars not this good and not this simple? So 2 wireless phone chargers right there. Wireless phone chargers not in an armrest like a Porsche and Audi, not behind the cups like a BMW, just 2 wireless phone chargers. And then there's 2 storage boxes here which are brilliantly large. So I've got 2 cup holders there, convenient. I'll pass them out. I'll just show you just how much stuff you can get in these center consoles. So I've got my lunch box, I've got my sunglasses, I've got my wife's sunglasses, I've got a banana, I've got a baguette for some more lunch, I've got some chewing gum, I've got my Tesla Model Y badge, tennis ball for the dog, and it goes on even further. So I've got some even larger items hanging, so I'm going to need your hand here. Let me pull some of these bits out. Cushion, trumpet, watering can, tennis racket, spider plant, fire extinguisher, portable vacuum cleaner, a couple of things at the back here as well, portable fan heater. You can carry a spare wheel and a console if you like, and even a trolley jack to change that wheel. So the center console in a Model Y is massive. The door bins are great. I've emptied them as well. No, let's stop there. And the door bins at the back as well. So for having loads of stuff in the car but keeping it tidy, keep that minimal look, I think it's just brilliant. So there we are, the Model Y. What's my verdict? Well, it's very nearly the perfect family EV, to be honest. Brilliantly efficient, charging network, super easy. And you can use non-Tesla chargers as well, of course. Efficiency, charging, is probably the best EV. Some other cars have maybe a little bit more practicality, some have a bit more of a sense of luxury, some have just a different feel about them, and they may be your preferences. But in my opinion, the Model Y is a brilliant EV and very much nearly the perfect family car. So well done Tesla, it will sell by the hundreds of thousands here in the UK and it deserves to do so. So thank you very much, and by the way, if we can ever see an air suspension version, that will be brilliant. So that's it for this video. Thank you everyone for watching, really appreciate it. Give us a thumbs up and stay tuned for the next video coming soon. Thanks for watching.